Today we are going to see as a part of our AWS DevOps uh, training. So far, what we have covered is the SDLC, the Software Development Lifecycle. And by the way, before we start, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe this channel because you will be finding lot of information about DevOps, AWS DevOps, Azure DevOps, big data in AWS and big data in Azure, and along with that, machine learning also. So you will find a lot of things regarding your skill upgrade or your interview. You know, the most important thing is to crack the interview. So this crash course basically it's a part of 8 to 10 capstone project, but full of hands-on. There's less theory and more hands-on. So I think SDLC we have already covered in the hands-on session. We have already started one batch. Even if you want to join the batch, please ping me right away. Don't delay in learning, guys. Just invest on yourself. It's best investment, believe me, guys. Okay, so let's start with the today's agenda with CloudFormation. You know that CloudFormation is there to create the infrastructure. Well, AWS Cloud has more than 200 plus services. And if you want to build the infrastructure inside the cloud, you need to do lot of things, one by one and step by step. And by the time you create the infrastructure, you may need to modify that infrastructure. So creating infrastructure takes a lot of time. Early days, I mean, not now, but early time, like 10 years back. But now we have infrastructure as a code. Means you write the code and this code will create the infrastructure. We have seen those things. There's infrastructure as a code for CloudFormation and infrastructure as a code for Terraform. So we'll cover Terraform shortly. We'll have a separate batch on Terraform. We'll learn only Terraform. But first, let's understand the AWS. AWS, believe me, guys, you need to have a Terraform separately. You don't take Terraform along with AWS. It's a very huge, a lot of things you need to cover. Anyway, let's cover the AWS CloudFormation. So CloudFormation, the first thing that CloudFormation comes in the picture is to create the resources. Well, we need to create the resources, but we need some smartness also. What do you mean by smartness? Smartness means if I'm creating the resources one time, then next time I don't need to recreate that resources if the requirement comes. So some function should be there that will understand that okay, yes, this function requirement looks like a new requirement, but the infrastructure is quite old. I mean the old requirement. So somewhere with the CloudFormation provides several functions that helps you to manage your stack. So this one of the function called intersect function. We'll talk about more function down the line, but today we are going to see intersect functions in your template to assign a value to a property that are not available until runtime. Means you don't know now what would be the value of that particular function, but as soon as something happens or as soon as you get the IP address or as soon as you get some value or get some attribute, that value get triggered. So you are telling CloudFormation that I don't have the value right now, but as soon as we enter some value, you pick up that value and create the stack or create the resources. That is called intersect function. So why these functions are very important? Why I'm putting more efforts on this one? Because most of the time in your cloud AWS DevOps journey, what you need to do is you need to understand the already written code. Even you need to write the code sometime, but 80% time you need to write a simple code, but 99% time you need to read the code. And so somebody has already written, or some vendor has already sent you the code that you need to test it out, do those things. So this intrinsic functions plays very important role in your CloudFormation stack, the code basically. So we'll see the code very shortly, and we will create the um, simple resource through this stack. So look at this guy. This is something, the AWS documentation. Here you can see the base 64 side. Don't need to remember everything, but I'm just giving you the idea of intrinsic functions. There are lot of intrinsic functions. So let's see a simple intrinsic functions. Base 64. What is that? So this intrinsic function returns the base 64 representation of an input string. This function is typically used to pass encoded data to Amazon EC2 instance by the way of user data property. Means whenever you create the EC2 instance, if this value, if this intrinsic function is there, then this function will pass the user data. Now, what do you mean by user data? So user data, if you see this, let me go here and let's see go to the EC2 instance. In programming, guys, always ask questions. Don't be silent, because if you don't understand, you will lose it, and you would never ever able to crack the interviews. Oh my God, this one instance is still running. I need to pay. Oh my God. Okay. So here, this is my EC2 instance. And this is, for instance, if I go to action stop, you know, if I go to action connect, these things are the instance setting, network security, images, monitor. So if I go to instance setting, I can see the user data. If I see the user data means if when the instance get created, if I want to deploy some applications or install HTTP or any software, those things should be there in the user data. So this script, this function is allowing this script, this CloudFormation script, in which you can say that if this function is there, this 64, then whenever you create the EC2 instance, user data will provide the user data. You need to wait for the user data. So in the JSON thing, it's JSON and YAML. Those are the two babies of CloudFormation, and I love YAML, but everyone like JSON, so we need to use JSON. Sorry, guys. Not that we can use the YAML thing also, but most of the codes in Amazon side is there in the JSON. But here also you can use this one. It's not a problem. So this intrinsic function, the value to encode means the user data. Means if this value is there, this function is there, means this user data value you need to enter that user data. Means user data means if the once this CloudFormation script will create the EC2 instance. So while creating EC2 instance, you need to read the user data. So it's a conditional function. It's called intrinsic function. It's called conditional function, and we have many intrinsic functions. And believe me, guys, once you write 4, 5, or not 5, I would say 15 to 20 CloudFormation template, or if you read this template 20 times, then you can easily understand that. Okay, let's go and see the CloudFormation, how to create the CloudFormation template. Let's see here. Let me go to the CloudFormation. Here we go. Yeah. And make sure, guys, once you are done with this resources, always shut down the resources. Otherwise, you need to pay a lot. Sometime 5,000 to 6,000 Indian rupees. Anyway, so let's see the template. If I see the template here, I can. Where is the template? Yeah, here you go. Now this is the template. Let's try to understand this template. The version description, we are not bothered about that. Take it with you. Parameters, S3 parameter prefix, description. Enter the unique prefix to the name of the S3 bucket you need to create. Type, string, default, my bucket. Here you see, did you see anything about your intrinsic functions here? Can you tell me anything? Yes, here we can see this one. This is something you need to find. This is the way to find the intrinsic function, guys. The function, fn, join. Now, when you say join, what do you mean by this function? Let's try to see. Go to our intrinsic function, join function. Let's go to the join here. You try to understand. Join appends the set of values into the single value separated by the specified delimiter. If the delimiter is empty string, the set of values are concatenated with no delimiter. Means comma delimiter list of values means if there is a multiple value, then it should be separated by comma. So let's see our handy dandy script, the CloudFormation stack. Here what we are trying to achieve is we are trying to create a bucket, S3 bucket, and the naming convention of the S3 bucket is the region. I mean, it has a region, stack name, and S3 name prefix. It should be separated by comma, comma, comma. Why we are doing it? Because we want to create a S3 bucket, and while creating S3 bucket, we just want to make sure that the S3 bucket is creating in which region, the stack name, and the prefix. So when you create this one, you can use this stack, to create the S3 bucket. Let's try to do that, and let's see what is doing. So create the stack, upload the file, and then select that file, go to the desktop, and go to your storage creation template. No, DevOps thing, and go to the AWS-DevOps, go to your CloudFormation, and then from here, stack creation, this one. Here we go. And let's say the next new stack, and then next you need to give any key value. Okay, guys, CloudFormation admin is okay, and let's see how it goes. So I'm just creating a stack. I've just created one stack, and it will create the resources. You can go to this resources and see what's going on. So let's say this is a user initiated S3 bucket, new stack. Now go to S3 bucket and see. Let's wait for some time before we go ahead and confirm something. Sometime you need to go back and see, oh, it's good, created, well done, good going. Okay, let's see the S3 bucket resources. Let's see the resources. My bucket, new stack, and then USA2. Why is this so special? Because we call this function join function, and that joins your bucket name and then your region name as well, along with your other stuff. So this is the way you need to uh, you need to uh, create the bucket, the stack. The why what we are trying to achieve here is, in our stack we have mentioned that whenever you create the any bucket, that bucket will tell on which region it belongs to, and that naming convention get changed with this type of intrinsic function. So I hope this one clear, guy. Intrinsic functions are there to do something which is triggered by some values. As soon as the you select uses 22, it will get added here. So triggering mechanism is for your intrinsic function. So this is for intrinsic function, guys. But before you leave, make sure that you delete this one. Otherwise, you need to pay a lot of money, guys. And don't do that. Go to the EC2 instance also, and if you find anything is up and running, then please shut it down. Let me go here and shut it down. Try to understand the concept, guys. This point and click things are very easy, but when it comes to the conceptual wise, you need to understand the concept. And if you need any help, you want to join the batch for AWS Crash Course on DevOps, please call me or ping me um, in the WhatsApp. Okay, guys. Till then, thank you and happy learning. You can call me on 9620 635 and 66.